Hi everyone, welcome to Christina's Craft Catch-Up episode 10. Today is Saturday the 12th of September and it is a lovely sunny morning and today is going to be 21 degrees, so I'm pretty happy about that. Spring is here. And you can find me on Ravelry as Chrissa, that's CHRISSAAH. I'm on Instagram as Cutiful Christina and my blog is cutifulchristina.com. And I think that's about it. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't post there, so don't even worry about it. We have a Ravelry group and discussions going on, and you can join at just look for the group called Christina's Knitting Catch-Up and you'll find us. And we're currently having a knit along, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So first things first, I've got two finished objects. The first, finally, is this sock. Yay! This sock is using the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which is a bargain at $1 for the pattern, so I highly suggest you go and buy it. And it's my own design, anatomically correct socks, because I have a larger big toe. So I did that, and this is actually my left sock. They were toe-up socks, and I used a cast-on called Judy's Magic Cast-On, I think. And it was quite easy, actually, that cast-on. And when you do toe-up socks, if they're shaped at the toe like this, you actually don't need to do mirrored toes because you just choose which side you put your heel on. So the next sock I do will be exactly the same, not opposite, and I'll just put the heel on this side instead of this side. It would be terrible if I made two socks with the heel on the same side. That would be really dumb. I plan not to do that. I knit these on size 2mm needles, which is a size down from my normal 2.25mm needles, and I did that because I couldn't find them. And as a result, the gauge is a lot tighter, but and I was a bit worried they were going to be too tight, but when I actually finished it and tried it on, it's totally fine. I did 1x1 rib, and I started quite low down, just above the ankle, and I knit the cuff to be a smidge longer than the heel. It is a smidge longer than the heel. Foot. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the same. Anyway, I was pretty happy with that. I've got another balled up amount of this yarn to use for the second sock. It's taken me a very long time just because I've had it in my bag to take to work and knit when my students don't come or in my lunch when I have a break. So up to the heel took me like a month, and then I knit from the heel to the cuff in 2 days because my students didn't show up that day. So as you can see, I get a lot of knitting done when my students don't show up. Oh, also, from about here, the same place, I decided to try magic loop, and I had never done that before. I'd only ever done double pointed needles, and it took me a while to get used to. Excuse me. I don't have very long double pointed circular needles, so it can be a little bit fiddly and feel a bit weird. I haven't tied in the end, just tucked it in. But after a while I got used to it, and it seems to be a lot quicker. You only have to fiddle around twice every round instead of 3 times every round. So maybe it's a time saver there. So anyway, that's that. I'm really happy with these. Yay, a sock. Fits really well. So thrilly bots. Let me see. Another finished object I don't actually have anymore because I gave it away. Hold on, let me just find the book. So I had to go to a friend's baby shower at work, and I wanted to make her something because, I'm a knitter, that's what I do. And I made her this bonnet You can't really see it in this picture, unfortunately, or even in this picture really, but it's basically a rectangle with some trim at one end, and then you fold it in half and sew up the back, so it's like a square with two sides sewn together, and then you make a little strap for under the chin, and it's like a little pixie hat, and it's got a point, and it was very cute, and I'll put in a picture here. Yeah, as you can see, I don't have a baby head or a doll or anything, so I used this ball of yarn to put it on. Yeah, so that's kind of funny looking. She seemed to like it. I mean, I don't even really mind if she uses it or not, because the point is that I made something, it is nice, and you know, she can use it if she wants to. I had to go to a yarn shop to buy those 3 colours of wool, and as a result I have a lot left because you only use a little bit for the edging, but like I didn't have any. So that was the beige colorway with blue and red trim, so now I can make a blue colorway with red and beige, and I can make a red with blue and beige, so I can do all those different colorways now because I've got that much left over. Anyway, she appreciated that, so it was nice. Works in progress, I've got a couple. Firstly, I'm really trying to figure out a shawl design. This is it so far. It's weeny tiny. Gosh, I don't even know what I was doing here. Anyway, this is some yarn that I just had, and I'm trying to figure out a good increase pattern that doesn't look gross, because I don't know, I've been trying it and it's kind of curled up at the edge or something, so I'm doing a bit of research and trying to figure out how to do that. This yarn I just had, I made another shawl out of it early this year, which turned out nice, but it's like a cotton something, it's Katia something something, and it's very splitty and very shiny, and it was good for what I used it for. I made a shawl for a wedding, and so it was very pretty, and I put beads on it, but it's not the nicest yarn to knit with. It's kind of, well, you know how cotton is, it's kind of hard, not squishy and soft like wool. So that's in progress. Also my lobelia cardigan, I'll show you what I've done on that. I bought buttons and made a button band. Now I think that the buttonhole band is probably a little bit too many stitches picked up, because it seems to sort of ripple a bit down the front. You can see there it's got a bit of a ripple in it, but I'm not going to worry about it for 2 reasons. Firstly, I don't think it's bad enough that anybody's going to really notice, and secondly, it's really, really hard to rip out this yarn. It's incredibly fluffy. Don't know if you can see how fluffy it is on the screen, but it's incredibly fluffy, and also it can just pull apart. It's very, very delicate, and why isn't it pulling apart? Oh well, that's good, I guess. I kind of worry that this cardigan is just really delicate, and that by wearing it, I'm going to make a hole. So somehow, I know that's not true, but it just is so delicate, and it worries me a bit. I met Andrea yesterday from the Wonderwool podcast. We met up and I showed her this, and she said it's like a kitten. It's so soft. It's so soft. You can't tell how soft it is, but it's so soft, and it's going to be lovely when it's done. Unfortunately, the yarn has been discontinued, the Rowan and Gora Hayes yarn, and I think I bought that after it had been discontinued from Love Knitting, and there wasn't much left, and I just got 11 balls, and that was pretty much it. So that's my lobelia cardigan. I'm also been knitting a bit on my fallow sweater. I'm not going to show you, I've done 2 rows. and I did them last night, and the lace row took me about half an hour to do. It's very frustrating that it takes so long, and I seem to just have a very poor memory when it comes to these cables. So I look at the chart and then I have to remember what the cable is, and then I have to look it up because they're decrease cables. So it's like slip 2 to cable needle, hold in front, knit 1, knit 2 together from cable needle, or slip, slip, knit from cable needle, or put the 2 in back, or slip 1 and then knit 2 together. So it's, I'm just having trouble remembering it. And so probably I did a bunch of them the wrong way. I don't think I did any of the cables the wrong way. I might have done the decreases in a different way than they said. But anyhow, it's just super annoying. So I don't have another decrease round like that for a while. So what a relief. Okay, so this week I actually have some things that I've bought, some new stuff. So let me talk about this. So the first thing I did, I ordered some yarn. And this is just, it's not very nice. It's just white yarn, Lullaby Lincraft wool, 100% wool. It's pretty rough, what knitters call rustic. And I actually bought this just to dye it. And I bought 4 balls, they're 50 grams each. So enough for 1 sock, or really for me 1 and a bit socks. And I had the intention of dyeing it, so I'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's one thing I got. I've dyed 2, which I'll show you in a bit, and I've got 2 left. So anyhow, that's one thing I bought. And these were like $2.50 each from Lincraft online. The Lincraft in the city near me, like 5 minutes down the road, has closed down, which is kind of sad because it's been there since I was a little kid, and when I was little, in the school holidays, Mum and I would make a special trip into Lincraft in the city because we lived on the south side, and now I'm on the north side. Anyway, it seemed like when I was little, it was a big grand trip, grand big day out to go to Lincraft in the city, and we used to go, and sometimes we would have ice cream. Anyway, so it's a bit sad that they've closed down, but also it's a pretty bad shop, so oh well. Anyway, I think it used to be better. Got this yarn to dye. Also, I bought online some things for the knit along giveaway, and I bought these moth repellent sachets. And they came in little sachets like this, like a tea bag. And they smell really nice. They've got cedar wood shavings in there, lavender. I've got the label here, I can tell you. Himalayan cedar, lavender, lime peel, rosemary, rose geranium, cinnamon, cloves, essential oils of cinnamon, clove, and lavender. I don't know how many of those ingredients are actually moth repellent, but it smells really nice. But I wasn't very happy with the packaging. I somehow thought it was going to be nicer than this. I don't know why I thought that. So I made a little sachet just for me, and it's pretty rough. It was a prototype, but you can smell the stuff. I mean, the scent comes out of here really well because this is just a fine weave cotton, pretty thin. I think I made some shorts out of this. Yeah, so I thought for the giveaway I'd put them into little sachets like this. I've got a whole bunch of cute fabric that I can use, and I thought that might be a bit nicer than sending out these tea bags. It does smell a little bit like some kind of delicious tea. So that's what I did, and that's what I got. And I'll just show you the card. Mr. Stiltskin. Etsy.com/shop/Mr. Stiltskin. Mr. Stiltskin. And that's the moth repellent sachets. Sorry about the sound as I put it away. Came in a little bag. So that's something nice. And another thing I bought, I, as you know, as I mentioned, I met up with Andrea yesterday, and we went to the wool shop at Manuka, where my friend actually was working, so it was nice to see her. And I bought some Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmerino, which I believe is machine washable, and it's for baby. Well, it's for anything. It's for whatever you want. But I bought two of these, this beigey grey colour, to make a cardigan for my friend who's having a baby in January. I'm not going to make a newborn size because in January the kid is not going to need a cardigan. And I also bought this yarn, Zania Print Merino, and it's like this cute stripy yarn. It's a very short stripe, so it's not like, yeah, you're not going to knit socks and get bands of colour. It's just little stripes of colour, more variegated than self-striping. And with these, I'm going to make the Playful Stripes cardigan for this little baby. And I might either make it in the 3 months or 6 months size. I haven't decided yet. I think I've got enough for either, because babies are small. And this yarn's a bit thinner than the Debbie Bliss, but I think it's going to be okay. I think they make quite a nice combination. So that's all my acquisitions. Oh, and this was a gift actually. Andrea kindly gave me an enormous circular needle so that I can be better at magic loop, which will be useful because the needles I were using were too small and it was just a bit pokey and difficult. So next time I knit socks, after these ones that I'm doing now, I'll use these, and that'll be really fun. I'm excited to use those. Cool. Right, now I have a book review. This is the book, Knitting for Tommy, Keeping the Great War Soldiers Warm. And this is not so much a knitting pattern book as a history book about how during World War I, all of the women at home and even the men at home knit things for the troops, and just about all of the things they did. They've got interesting old articles and patterns and things and propaganda type stuff. It's very interesting, and how the Queen Mum used to knit for the soldiers, and she used to have these knitting circles and things, and all of the wool that they used to use as well. Cholera belt, as officially recommended, a great safeguard against chill from exposure and damp, and also against intestinal disorders. So I guess people made like a band that would go from their chest to their bum just to keep their tummy warm, which sounds like a good thing. Look at this, amazing. Isn't that cool? Like a balaclava. And I just think that the old ads and things are quite charming, and how all of the knitting magazines, they sort of had far less women's knitting patterns and more men's patterns for them to send off. And it had stories about how everybody would knit stuff, and some of the stuff that got sent over there wasn't quite recognizable when it got there, and I think some of the men didn't quite know what to do with some of the weird things they got sent. And it's just quite lovely. And there's a picture of all the troops, and how they used to look forward to getting knitted presents. Songs. It's a very interesting book. I read the whole thing, and I thought it was absolutely charming. There's photographs of film stars knitting on set, which is lovely. Who is she? International movie star and America's sweetheart, Mary Pickford, pictured on a film set knitting for the Red Cross. There's cartoons, all sorts of interesting pictures. Everybody's doing it. And, gee, it's lovely. What a great book. I think I bought this on, I don't know where I bought it now that I think of it. I was going to say Amazon, but I don't think it is Amazon actually. And at the end, here we've got a couple of actual patterns in the original format. Just a copy of it. Knitted helmet. What's this? A scarf and some wristlets. I've knitted some wristlets recently. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was as black as your bull's, but she's made it into nice warm socks for Kitchener's new recruits. Boots, not bulls. They didn't cross their T. Well, that's confusing for an idiot like myself. Yeah, lots of patterns. They look very easy, these patterns, and I think that they kind of had to be so that everybody could do it, and they just wanted to, the spirit was they wanted to help out in any way they could and do their very best. And I think that some of these men overseas ended up with a huge amount of knitted objects, more than they knew what to do with. And I think they would swap with each other. Like if some guy's wife kept sending him socks and some guy's wife kept sending him scarves, they would swap and use the scarves for different things, use the weird jumpers as blankets and stuff like that. Anyway, that's a really lovely book, Knitting for Tommy. For the Empire and for freedom we must all do our bit. The men go forth to battle, the women wait and knit, which is on the back. That's cute. So that's my book review. Okay, so I wanted to tell you a bit about the dyeing I've been doing. So like I said, I used this wool. It's pretty crummy actually. It's not very nice. It's rough and hairy. And this was actually for Rosehip Knits Dye Along, which is running. And what I did was I balled, got a glimpse. I balled this by hand into a round ball, 2 of them actually, 2 round balls. And I submerged them in a pot of red food dye, and I sort of turned them and blah, blah, blah. And when I thought they'd had enough, I put some splodges of blue on it. That was a mistake, but I'll tell you why. I put some splodges of blue on it, and I sort of thought, oh, that just rinsed away. So I didn't think that did anything. And then I rinsed it, and I wound it the other way so that the red was in the middle of the ball. And what I found was the blue that I had splotched on, rather than getting washed away, had been sucked further into the ball of yarn because the yarn further in was less dyed, and it sucked in that blue. So while there was less blue on the outside, it had gone into the middle, which was really super weird. But anyway, I rolled it the other way so that the lighter red was on the outside and the splodges of blue. And then it smells funny. And then I submerged it in a yellow dye. And I thought that it would look like a sunset. And it kind of does. Can you see how? So there's the outside, the yellow. Here's the end, very yellow end. And then there's the red on the inside. In the middle, it's sort of pinks and oranges and this bluey green thing. So the blue was a mistake because when I put it with the yellow, it turned into murky greens, and I don't quite like that. But anyway, it was a really fun experiment. So after I dyed it the yellow colour, I rinsed it, and then me and my husband took turns winding it up on the niddy noddy, which I have one. And here it is skeined up. The blue is just where I've tied it together. And you see, like, here I don't really like this. I think that's yucky. But yeah, that's my dyeing. And it turned out quite vivid, didn't it? Like saturated colour. I'm not very good at skeins. I do it too tight or too loose and it ends up looking weird. So let's see if I can do it on camera. Is that what you do? And you just pop this through? Is that it? Well, that doesn't look as good. They're the same. They should be the same. I did the other one tighter. Anyway, they're still a little bit wet because I did this last night, so I shouldn't skein them up anyway. But that's my dyeing project. And I am going to do another couple of balls. I did them the same because I thought if I make socks, I want them to be the same. So I'm trying to think how I'll do the next one. Obviously, I won't put blobs of blue on it, but I do quite like the idea of making a sort of striping yarn, and not quite sure how I'd achieve that. I'm thinking measure out a couple of meters of yarn, then ball that up into a little ball, and then do the same all the way along the yarn. It sounds pretty labor intensive, and then like putting them in each little bowls of dye and make a little circle of bowls of dye. This is my thought, to have like 6 little bowls of dye and have the yarn bloop, 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 bloop going around like this. That's my thought. It sounds pretty hard work though. And you know, hard work is hard. So anyway, I did that for the dye along, and I'll put in some photos here of the dye along process. All right, so as you can see, that was pretty fun last night, and my husband got involved and we had a good time together. It turns out that we like doing stuff together, so isn't that good? Okay, now I want to talk about my knit along. So my knit along is the Rose Along, and it's running until the end of this month. I might extend it if it's if people haven't finished. And the idea is to knit something with rose in the title or that is the colour rose. And this wouldn't count because it's purple. You don't get roses that colour. But this might count, right? Not that I'm going to go into it because, you know, what's the point? It's for you guys, not for me. So do you like how my nails are the same colour as my... Yeah, that was deliberate. They're sparkly. Yes, and I'm going to have prizes as well. So these little these rose moth repellent sachets are part of it, and these have rose in them. I'm also going to give away some stitch markers, not these, but they're like these. They haven't arrived yet. They're on the way. And a skein of yarn, which I showed you last week. And I'm thinking of getting some wool wash, but I went on Etsy and tried to find some I could buy, and they're all from America. I can't find any from here, and the postage is just extreme. So like for a $10 bar of soap, the postage is $30 or something. And I mean, I love you guys, but I just don't think that I'm going to spend $40 for one bar of soap. So anyway, please do join in because it's fun. We've got a lot of lovely things up there, and I'm just going to have a look to see what is actually up there right now. So pardon me looking like I'm not looking at you because I'm not. I'm looking at my Ravelry. Okay, so Rose Along Chatter thread. We've got 18 posts. We've got, let's see, Andrea is knitting my shawl, my Rose Garden shawl, and I saw it yesterday and it's coming along great. It really is pretty in that yarn. Rose Hip Chick, who doesn't get a point for her name, even though it does have rose in it, is making a phoenix hat. And if you look at her podcast, you can see that she's entering it into 1 billion knit-alongs, which is gorgeous. There's someone knitting some rose-coloured socks called Undine is the pattern, and they are really pretty. They're like a textured thing. Um, that's it so far. So how many is that? 4? So you all have a very good chance of winning. So everybody else, please get involved because so far the chances of winning are pretty great. And I would just love to see some more things happening because things are fun. I'd especially like it if someone else knit my pattern, but you don't have to. That's not in the spirit of it. So anyway, that's really fun, and there's some other chatter threads in my forum as well, and I just really like it. It's lovely. So let me tell you a bit about my week. I had a pretty normal week as far as teaching went. For some reason, everyone forgot to come on Thursday. Not everyone, but sometimes it seems like they plan it, these boys. They say to each other, hey, let's all not go to our lesson today. And then a bunch of them don't show up. But I know it's not planned. It's just the barometric pressure. It affects young men's brains. I have noticed that actually, that when it's raining, they are very forgetful. It wasn't raining though, so I don't know what was going on. Let me think. So I did teaching, and that was fine. And I did some dyeing, and that was fine as well. And I don't think I've done much else this week. I met up with Andrea yesterday. We had a really nice time. Had some lunch. Yeah, really not much going on. And it's been extremely nice and sunny and lovely outside. And this coming week, I don't have anything in particular planned either, which is great. I'm going to dye up this as well, but I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. I might even just dye this and the other one in a solid colour just to see how it turns out, because I'd like a scientist, I would like my dyeing results to be repeatable and predictable. So I think, of course, I'd have to do way more experiments to actually have that happen. I'm just using Queen food dye that you can get here. Look at how the colour changes in my face when this is here. Isn't that weird? So that's what's coming up this week. Nothing in particular. The week after, I may have to not record because we're going to Brisbane for a steel pan festival. And for those who don't know what a steel pan is, I don't really blame you. You probably actually do know what a steel pan is, but you don't know what it is. That didn't make sense. But it's the instrument from Trinidad that is like a 44-gallon drum that's been hammered out in the middle. And I'm in a steel pan band, and I actually have one over there, which is really fun. I've been practicing. We're doing an ABBA medley at the moment, and it's really awesome. So I'm going to a steel pan festival at the end of the month in Brisbane, and that'll be super cool, probably. But it's over a weekend, so it's like Friday to Monday that I'll be away. So I probably won't be able to record that week, but that means you'll have all the more for the next week. Yeah, so let me see how long I've been going. 33 minutes, that's about average for me. I've been watching a few new podcasts. I've been watching Come Knit With Us, which is 2 ladies in America, Arizona, I think they are, and it's basically like just joining in their hangout, which is kind of nice. And I've been watching Knitting in the City, which is a girl in the Netherlands, and she's quite nice as well. And she has a dog, which is really lovely, and I'm totally jealous because I really want a dog. I don't want a cat, so no, sorry, but I really want a dog. Yeah, but at the moment in our little flat we can't have a dog, so never mind. When we move into somewhere else, we'll get a dog. And I'm rambling now, so that's going to do us for this week. You have a really lovely week, knitting all the things you want and doing all the things you love. And I will see you and talk to you next week. Bye.